Hello, this is Jim Law, Solutions Engineer, Synergist Technologies in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Welcome to my video I entitled Annotative Scaling 101. And the main reason for this video is I'm finding that the majority of my customers just are not taking advantage of the power of annotative scaling. And the main reason I'm finding also is that the fact they just don't understand it, or they've tried it and it didn't work the way they thought it should, and they just kind of gave up on it. And I don't want you folks to do that. So let's see what we can do here to help that explanation of annotative scaling just a little bit easier. I'm going to close that up here and take a look at a drawing that I've already started. And when I started this particular drawing, what I've done is I started with a style for my text, dimensions, and leaders. Let me give you a quick explanation of what I did here. Under the Annotative tab, I went to my text styles, and the little button here, I open up the text styles box, and I created a Jim's Annotative style. I chose a font for that particular style, then I came down here and turned on the Annotative button. Now what I do with that next is I come over to here where it says Paper Text Height. This area is important. This is telling AutoCAD what you want your plotted text height and your dimensions and your hatch and things to display in the viewport and when it plots. The typical is 1/8 of an inch for your plotted text height, so I put it in there into your paper text height area. And you'll notice that when I made them annotative and I saved it, it created and put a little Mitsubishi symbol right to Jim's Annotative style. So that shows me that this is an annotative style. So we'll go ahead and get out of that and take a look quickly at the next, the dimension style, which I created one called Annotative Dims. And when I look at the style here, under text, I am using Jim's Annotative as the text style, and then under fit, I am turning on and creating it, or making it annotative as well. So okay out of that. And then last, let's take a look at the multi-leader styles, and I use this little pop down here under the annotative leader. When I go to look at it a little further, you'll notice that under content I have the text style of Jim's Annotative again. So I've created it and I've used it 3 places already, and under the leader structure I've turned on the annotative button there as well, hence the little Mitsubishi button next to it. And as I put these objects in and I hover over them, you'll notice that it's also displaying for this is in fact a annotative style, because when I hover it, it shows Mitsubishi's, same here as with that text, and even the hatch pattern shows the Mitsubishi symbols in here. So what that's saying is, and what you do is down along the bottom, and in this area, your annotative area, is currently this is showing me those 3 particular things and what it's going to display at 1/8 of an inch equals a foot. So if I select this and I go to 1/4 of an inch equals a foot, you'll see everything get a little bit smaller, because that is what the text would look like in a viewport at that particular scale factor. Now one thing I will point out here, in this area, there's a lot of technical, and I can get into all kinds of reasonings why, but the bottom line is it just works. If I go down and I make sure all the time Mitsubishi's on all the time. So always check down here, make sure these are both orange and not that little blue ball or little light bulb there. Make sure they're always on and orange. Alright, so in model space, again, you set this to whatever and how you want your annotative objects to display as you're working in your model space. So now we'll switch over here to a layout, and this is where you really see the power happen. Now I'm going to cut 2 viewports here, and we'll put one here, and we'll put another one right next to it, like so. Okay, now these viewports obviously have not been scaled yet, but when I pop into this guy here, again, what I'm going to do is come down and make sure those Mitsubishis are on, and I'm going to select that view at 1/8 of an inch equals a foot. You'll see everything kind of shrink down, and I'll go ahead and lock it while I'm in here so I can't accidentally goof it up. And I'll pop over here now to this viewport, and we'll set him now to 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. That's just like a more enlarged view of that same area. And I'll zoom him around, and let's go ahead and lock him as well. Now if you look closely enough, look at the word, for an example, door. They're the same exact size. The text inside of here, same exact size. Even the hatch is scaled the same in the 2 viewports, because he was set to annotative as well. And to show you that quickly, as I select that hatch, all I did was come over here into the properties of that hatch or on my ribbon and just turn on the annotative for that particular hatch pattern. So, again, what I'm looking at here, and even if I was to change this view to a completely different scale and come down and make it a 1/2 of an inch equals a foot, as it grows, you get to see that text automatically change according to that little scale factor you see right there. So hopefully that helps with understanding how the annotative objects work. And again, it begins with the style. So I always start with the text style, make an annotative one, and use that throughout. And always remember, all Mitsubishi's on all the time. Thank you for listening, and hope that explains things. And keep your eyes open for new videos in a series on Synergist.com. And thanks again for listening.